National Honor Society Faculty Committee feels that the 11th and 12th grade students are mature enough to attend this solemn ceremony. Needless to say, we expect your best behavior today. We'd like to welcome not only 11th and 12th grade students, but also school board members, parents and relatives, and members of the press covering this event. It's quite an honor to be inducted into the National Honor Society, and we are quite proud of those students who are going to be inducted today. I would like to thank Mr. Lum and Mr. Heckman, the advisors of the National Honor Society, for a job well done. Also, my thanks to the faculty committee who helped in the selection of these students, Mrs. Souders, Mrs. Wagner, Mr. Harry, Mr. Hunsberger, and Mr. Richard Wagner. There are 27 of you in the audience today whom we've selected. I know you're anxiously waiting to be tapped. So without further ado, let us begin the ceremony. This time I'd like to introduce to you Eric Maddock, President of the National Honor Society. Eric.
The James Buchanan chapter of the National Honor Society is part of a nationwide organization established in 1921 by the National Association of Secondary School Principals. Its purpose is to uphold its four objectives of character, leadership, scholarship, and service before the entire school as goals towards which all should strive. This is not only a scholastic honor. An outstanding student is not just the student who excels scholastically. He is the student who shows all qualities of a well-rounded individual. This, after all, is the goal of our educational institutions. To be eligible for membership, the James Buchanan chapter's constitution states that a student must be a member of the junior or senior class and have a scholastic semester average of 3.2 minimum. The students who meet these requirements are then evaluated by a faculty advisory committee on the basis of their leadership, character, and service. The students who have attained these high standards and have been chosen for membership deserve the highest praise and congratulations for their achievements. The following students have been chosen to be inducted this day in the James Buchanan chapter of the National Honor Society. As I read the names, will these students please come forward to the stage? The seniors elected to membership are as follows: Cassandra Bequeath, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. William Bequeath of St. Thomas. Cassandra is a member in cheerleading, SAD, AFS, varsity club, pep club, and chorus. Her cumulative grade point average is 3.61. Rebecca Bricker. Rebecca is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Gail Bricker of of Mercersburg. She's a member of the basketball team and FHA. Her cumulative grade point average is 3.26. Nikki Merkel. Nikki is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Stephen Merkel of St. Thomas. Her cumulative grade point average is 3.58. She is a member of the band, chorus, cross-country, track, and diving teams. Christopher Peck. Chris is the son of Mrs. Penny Bricker of Mercersburg. His cumulative grade point average is 3.40. He is a member of the VOTEC, FBLA, and the Art Club. The juniors elected to membership are as follows: Andrew Engel. Andrew is the son of Mr. and Mrs. Gary Engel of Mercersburg. His cumulative grade point average is 3.93. Andrew is a member of the soccer, basketball, and baseball teams, along with varsity club and pep club.
Thanks.
Tanya Bradnick. Tanya is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Perry Bradnick of Mercersburg. She's a member of the French Club, AFS, Chorus, SAD, French Club, and Pep Club. Her cumulative grade point average is 3.37. Angela Brendel. Angela is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Robert Brendel of St. Thomas. She's a member of the art club, swimming team, and varsity club. Her cumulative grade point average is 3.81. Allison Bricker. Allison is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Larry Bricker of Chambersburg. She's a member of Chorus, Art Club, Tennis Team, Pep Club, French Club, and Varsity Club. She has a cumulative grade point average of 3.66. Tiffany Estep. Tiffany is a daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Robert Estep of Chambersburg. She's a cheerleader, member of Student Council, and Pep Club. Her cumulative grade point average is 3.41. Shelby Fike. Shelby is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. George Fike of Mercersburg. She's a member of Pep Club and the track team. Her cumulative grade point average is 3.34. Sherry Gott. Sherry is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. William Gott of St. Thomas. Her cumulative grade point average is 3.44. Sherry is a member of cheerleading and Pep Club. Tina Horsch. Tina is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Tucker Horsch of Chambersburg. Her cumulative grade point average is 3.36. Tina was a member of band front, chorus, softball, Pep Club, Art Club, and Varsity Club. Sean Lieberknight. Sean is the son of Mr. and Mrs. Leonard Lieberknight of St. Thomas. He was a member of the band and has a cumulative grade point average of 3.46. Joanna Miller. Joanna is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Gary Miller of St. Thomas. She's a member of the band and AFS. She has a cumulative grade point average of 3.47. Kelly Musselman. Kelly is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Don Musselman of Chambersburg. She has a GPA of 3.73 and is a member of the track, varsity club, Student Council, diving team, chorus, and art club. Melinda Musser. Melinda is the daughter of Mrs. LaDonna Musser of St. Thomas. She's involved in the Great Literature Club and chorus. Her GPA is 3.34. Theodore Ressler. Theodore is the son of Mr. and Mrs. David Ressler of Mercersburg. He's a member of the cross-country and track teams as well as the varsity club. He has a cumulative grade point average of 3.78. Kara Rockwell. Kara is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Gary Rockwell of Mercersburg. She is a cheerleader as well as a student council representative, and she is involved in VOTEC. She has a cumulative grade point average of 3.47. Heather Stotler. Heather is the daughter of Mrs. Alice Poe of St. Thomas. She's a homeroom representative to Student Council. Her GPA is 3.28. Jeanette Straley. Jeanette is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. William Straley of Laymasters. She's a member of DECA and the Library Club. She has a GPA of 3.35. Amy Stuckey. Amy is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Thomas Stuckey of Mercersburg. She's a member of the Great Literature Club, chorus, and show choir. She has a cumulative grade point average of 3.56. Dyron Swales. Dyron is the son of Mr. and Mrs. James Swales of St. Thomas. He's a member of the soccer, basketball, and baseball teams as well as the varsity club. He has a cumulative GPA of 3.49. Annette Timmons. Annette is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Richard Timmons of Mercersburg. She has a cumulative GPA of 3.70 and is a member of the art club, pep club, and track. Michelle Turney. Michelle is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Greg Turney of Greencastle. She's a member of the band, chorus, Great Literature Club, and French Club. Her cumulative GPA is 3.96. Mary Wadle. Mary is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. John Wadle of Chambersburg. She's a member of the art club, chorus, swimming team, varsity club, and show choir. Her GPA is 3.77. Danielle Wagaman. Danielle is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Raymond Wagaman of Fort Loudon. She's a member of the French Club, Pep Club, and AFS. Her cumulative GPA is 3.47. Rebecca Whitmer. Rebecca is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Leonard Whitmer of Greencastle. Her cumulative grade point average is 3.34. She is a member of the Friends Club, Pep Club, and field hockey team. There's still some people back there.
Got 2 to go.
The lighted candle burning before you represents the flaming torch, which is the emblem of the National Honor Society and symbolizes the purpose of the society, to follow the light of truth. The 4 unlighted candles are symbolic of the 4 requirements upon which election is based. The members who are serving as examples of these 4 principles, character, scholarship, leadership, and service, will in turn explain the meaning of each. Sean Stevens, our Vice President, representing character, perhaps the greatest of these principles, will speak first.
A prerequisite of an intelligent, well-rounded citizen is good character. Each of us are individuals possessing different talents, ambitions, likes, and dislikes. Good character is the favorable combination of the qualities distinguishing any particular individual. In other words, how one acts and feels on such issues as morals and honesty determine, to a very large extent, one's character. Having the courage to be honest to yourself and what you believe, even when you know others will be against you, is one of the many traits of a person with strong character. Your character is what you are, not what you would like to be. Or as Abraham Lincoln said, character is like a tree and reputation like its shadow. The shadow is what we think of it. The tree is the real thing.
Scholarship represents another portion of the light of truth. Miriam Jarrett, our treasurer, will speak of scholarship.
Scholarship is the love of learning, the search for truth. Mixed with wisdom and understanding, it is one path by which a better world may be sought. Each of us should use our minds, for they are the instruments for understanding. With understanding, solutions can be discovered. Scholarship is within the reach of each of us, but he who desires it must earn it by putting forth faithful effort, which is never lost, but is retained with manifold blessings. Knowledge gives light to men to distinguish between right and wrong, good and bad, true and false, brave and cowardly, just and unjust. May you go forth carrying this golden treasure into the service of humanity.
Melena Johnson, our secretary, represents leadership, the third quality, which is a portion of the light of truth.
Leadership, in its highest sense, is not simply an outgrowth of a vigorous and pleasing personality. In order to benefit mankind, leadership must proceed from unselfish motives, from strong character, and from a self-informed mind. The gift of leadership is given to only a few, and these few must realize its responsibility. The power to lead is a wonderful gift, if used wisely. A leader must be able to keep the faith and trust which his companions place in him by the recognition of his leadership. Most unnoticed is the quiet leadership in the classroom. It is in discussion and arguments that the real leaders of school thought stand out. More effectively than an open campaign, the student leaders shape and direct the attitudes of the school. To him who uses the gift of leadership wisely and well, the world gives full measure of honor and glory.
With the addition of service, our society is complete. Natasha Schock, a distinguished member of our society, will speak of the final principle.
As the lighting of this candle completes the circle of light, so does the willingness to serve complete the personality of an individual who would have a well-rounded life. This candle signifies the brightness and joy of service, the unselfish devotion which gives itself to the need of the individual, of the school, and of the nation. There is no pleasure in life quite like the deep feeling of satisfaction of having been of service to others. In school, service is considered a contribution of time and effort, which is performed not with any hope of reward, but rather with the sincere desire to be of benefit. The true beauty of service lies in the simple giving of oneself, one's time and ability wherever there is a need. May you practice this giving of yourself to others, and so find true happiness in service.
Mr. Richard Wagner, a National Honor Society faculty advisor, will now lead the membership in the saying of the pledge.
Having been chosen for the National Honor Society, please repeat this pledge after me. I pledge myself to uphold the high ideals of the National Honor Society, to build strong character in myself and others, to further the advancement of scholarship, to carry aloft the torch of leadership, to serve my school, my community and my country, in the interest of humanity. You have made the pledge and are now entrusted with the torch, which is a symbol of the National Honor Society. The torch gives you the gift of light. As it has been given to you, so you should give it to others. According to the National Honor Society Constitution, I declare you new members of the National Honor Society of James Buchanan. As newly elected members of the National Honor Society, go forth and further the qualities upon which your selection was based. The path that lies before you will be filled with many obstacles. However, the achievement of your goal will not be hindered by the obstacles themselves, but by the manner which you use to confront them. The manner you use to meet the difficulties will determine your worth as an individual. Welcome to the National Honor Society. You may be seated.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner, and congratulations to all the new members. I'd like to commend the parents. This is a very high honor, and I know you're very quite proud of these students. Some special thanks I'd like to give before I dismiss our students back to their 8th period class. First of all, to our faculty committee, Mr. Lum, Mr. Heckman, Mr. Harry, Mr. Hunsberger, Mrs. Souders, Mrs. Wagner, and Mr. Richard Wagner for helping in the assembly. Also, the stage lighting, Mr. Wagner, Mr. Fred Wagner, the organs, Mr. Eshelman, AV, Mr. Lucas, and Mrs. Witterkey for the refreshments. Parents are invited to the cafeteria immediately afterwards for tea, and you may take your students home with you then.
This is a special induction of a student into the National Honor Society. As you all know, the National Honor Society had its annual induction on Monday, November 23rd. Jeanette Straley was not there because of an oversight on our part. We felt it appropriate to acknowledge Jeanette now for her achievements. The qualifications for membership into the National Honor Society are fourfold. In order to be accepted, a student must clearly show character, leadership, service, and scholarship. Outstanding students are not just the students who excel scholastically, they are the students who show all the qualities of a well-rounded individual. Jeanette meets these qualifications and is hereby inducted into the James Buchanan chapter of the National Honor Society. Jeanette is a daughter of Mr. and Mrs. William Straley of Laymasters. Jeanette is a member of DECA and Library Club and has a GPA of 3.35. Congratulations, Jeanette, for your achievement. Welcome to the National Honor Society.
Thank you.